Crow Indians. Habitats. The wolf does not have natural predators on the plains. Their biggest threat is other wolf packs. Wolf cubs are with their mothers in the wolf pack. The male wolf cubs often leave to form a pack of their own. Wolves howl to make their pack stay away from other packs. The size of a wolf pack depends on a lot of things. For example, how much food is available affects the wolf's ability to live. The wolf pack will keep its own territory and can sometimes fight to the death with wolves in other packs. For smaller sizes, coyotes are normally fast enough to escape the jaws of a wolf. The Sundance is an important tradition. The eagle plays a big part in the Sundance because it's one of the Plains Indians' most sacred animals. 10% of the Great Plains is protected and home to special wildlife. By the end of the 1700s, the horse was used by most of the Plains Indians. The Crow are an American Indian group and today live mostly on the Crow Reservation in the Bighorn in Yellowstone counties, Montana. The Crow language is spoken on the reservation. The Crow are usually at war with the Blackfoot and Teton, but kept peaceful religions with the Shoshone and Hidatsa.
Homes. The Crow lived in teepees and sweat lodges. When the Crow traveled, they lived in teepees. In permanent villages, they lived in sweat lodges. Teepees are covered in buffalo hides. Most Indians used around 50 buffalo skins to make one teepee. Buffalo hides were tanned and used as teepee covers. The muscle tendon or sinew was used as thread. Women built the teepees. They would scrape the hides for the teepee covers. The covers were painted by the men. It was then fastened to the frame. They would make the frame by peeling the bark off some slender lodgepole pine logs. The frames were cone-shaped. The Crow tied the poles together at the top. A whole Crow village could pack up in an hour. The Crow had very large teepees. This was because the teepees could fit many families on the edge of the teepee so they could put a fireplace in the center. Smoke from the fire goes through a hole in the top. They slept on hide beds. Sweat lodges were also used in ceremonies where men sat inside praying. The Indian men believed that this helped them stay connected to the earth. Sweat lodges are made of bent willows, blankets, and tarps. You enter through a flap that lifts up. Inside there are red cloths tied to frames to remind them of their prayers. It smells like an herb root called bear root. In a corner there is a pit that was used to hold hot lava rocks. There are stacks of wood, brush, blankets, and gallons of water around sweat lodges. Most sweat lodges are built on top of a hill with aspen trees on it.
Clothing. This is about how the Crow Indians dress. The girls wore the same thing as their mothers. The woman wore a robe made out of buffalo skin to keep them warm in the winter. The woman wore a kind of dress called the warrior shirt that was very attractive. They wore their hair short and had a very important role in the Crow family life. Men wore breechcloth and leather leggings. They also had buckskin shirts.
Food. The Crow Indians lived in the northwest part of the United States. The food they ate was deer, elk, and buffalo. The Crow were hunters. They grew corn and elk and fruits. The Crow Indians ate wild food like carrots and berries. They ate a little fish. Tools and weapons. Knives were made from stones and the bones of animals. They were sharpened with rocks until they formed sharp tips. Pieces of wood were used as the handles. The spears were 8 to 10 feet long.
The spears could be used to hunt on land or water. The spears for hunting were usually twice the size as war spears, so the prey didn't get away. The shields were 12 inches long. The shields were not carried into battle for protection. They were marked as a place of honor at the teepee. The tomahawks were 21 inches long. The blade was 5 inches wide. It had double-edged blades.
Art. The Crow Indians have a lot of art that is very interesting. The Crow Indians use art for all ages. For an example, the Crow decorated clothing for ceremonies and regular day clothes. They put a lot of detail in their art because they wanted other Native Americans to understand them better. The tribe is known for their art because they put a lot of detail in their art, like the wampum belts, dresses, clothes, and decorations. They also put art on their teepees to remember special events. The Crow Indians made art out of beads and stones. The beads were carved from shells, coral, and turquoise. They also used stones, copper, silverwood, amber, ivory, and animal bones. We are fortunate to be able to see examples of Crow artwork in museums today. It gives us an appreciation of how clever they are.
Famous Native Americans. Thomas Yellowtail was the Sundance chief for 30 years, from 1903 to 1933. He was also medicine man, and he was chief for 30 years, from 1933 to 1963. He was born in Lodge Grass, Montana.
Dr. Janie Pease was a former president of Little Bighorn College. Pease has a MacArthur Genius Award and has been honored with the American Civil Liberties Union Janet Ricken Award. She was named National American Indian Educator of the Year in 1990. She is amazing. Plenty Coups, who is considered one of the last traditional Crow chiefs, led a successful fight against U.S. Senators' efforts to do away with Crow lands. He worked to guide his tribe in the change from nomadic life of the Plains Indians to reservation life. He also encouraged them to continue practicing their traditional ways while doing what they needed to do to make it in the white man's world. He was also a strong advocate for education.
Customs. The Crow had a lot of customs. Some are very interesting. Here's a very short report about them. I hope you like it. The Crow believed in spirits that were both bad and good. For example, High Thunder, the Thunderbird, and Dwarf spirits are part of Crow folklore. The Thunderbird is a Crow belief. They believe that two Indians went to find the origin of thunder. One man was killed, but the other made it to a place where people broke all his bones and turned him into Thunderbird. The Crow believed that they were ferocious little dwarfs. Most Western tribes have dwarf spirits as beliefs. Legends go back a long time about them. They also believed that everyone had three moms. Earth, their normal moms in their homes. They believed that everything shared the same feelings. To them, plants stood for baby animals in spring. Another custom is when a baby is born, its parents choose someone to name it. If an important thing happened in their life, they might get renamed after it. That's very different than our customs.